Hi everybody, we're back now with our background pretty much completed. We're ready now to start painting the raccoon, the main actress in our painted story. Now we're going to paint the raccoon in layers, most likely 4, and in the PDF I've included a photo for each of the layers so that you can see where we're headed with it. Sometimes it's difficult when you're following somebody else's instructions to understand what you're aiming for, or you can see what you're aiming for maybe in the photo of the final piece, but it's nice to see what's happening along the way. So let's get started with layer 1. And in layer 1, we're only going to use 4 colors. We're going to use burnt umber. We're going to use a deep blue. And of course, these colors are in your color chart in your PDF. We're going to use the same gray that we used in the sky, just sort of a light gray. And then bleach sand, a very light color, warmish off-white. Okay, so I usually like to start with the eyes. Of course, at this point, we have transferred all of our design. If you haven't, go ahead and do that before we start this part. But also, we have painted the background, so we may have painted a little bit over the raccoon. So if you cannot see your outlines very clearly of where she is, you might want to go ahead and take a look at that again and possibly retrace it. So let's just get started. The purpose of this first layer is just to block in the base layer for our main colors, and this will give us a roadmap as we proceed of where the different colors are going, where the light fur is, where the dark fur is, and so on. So I like to start with the eyes. It's just an idiosyncrasy of mine. I kind of feel like once I have the eyes there, my subject can see me and can communicate with me, and hopefully I can get to know her and we'll make a nicer portrait that way. Anyway, I'm outlining the eyes. These are actually eyelids, I think, with a fairly solid color, fairly dark color, or dark load of that burnt umber. And then for her eyes themselves, I'm also going to use burnt umber, but not quite so dark. And I'm painting around the highlight. That's not necessary to do, but I like to do it that way. I guess for one thing, it gives a really much brighter base to paint for the highlight later. You know, it's hard to paint a bright white over a dark brown or a black, because not all whites are super opaque. So if we start out with a white basis, we're a step ahead there. Okay, now also I'm going to put this dark color in the deepest part of her ears. I'm using a round brush. This is hair, so I'm painting it, trying to paint it hair-like. And you will notice that I turn my painting quite a bit, and that's because there are directions that are more comfortable for me to paint a stroke. Some directions are more comfortable than others, so if I can, I'd like to give myself that advantage. Okay, and then around the rest of the deep part in the eye, or sorry, in the ears, it's going to be this gray, painting back towards the brown. So I'm pulling my strokes so that I want to get kind of a feathery edge on the end of the stroke. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to switch to a flat brush for a wider area. Now, the mask, of course, we know is very dark. Black, almost black. However, the forehead, the crown of the head, the forehead is more of a gray, more of a, like a goody color, maybe you would say. Not a solid color, but, many different colors blending together and giving a gray impression overall. So I'm just using a wash. And this goes in front of the ears as well. Oops, not getting paint there in my brush. And then it comes down and goes out to the edge of the head. Now, got to make sure that we leave this space for the white above her mask. And I'm painting around that holly leaf. Okay, now let's switch to our bleach sand, our light off-white color, and work on the light color fur. Now on the chest, the body and the chest, the light color fur is along the edge. And I'm using my flat brush, and I'm using the chisel edge of my flat brush on the edge of the raccoon and just pulling strokes outward. And likewise on her little white space here, again, the bleached sand, the flat brush, and pulling those strokes. And this edge between the light color that I'm painting now and the brown at the top, it's nice if it's not, we don't want a sharp line there if we can avoid it. So again, using the chisel edge, and I'm going to be painting around this holly leaf, although it's not so critical here because this is a light color and wouldn't be hard to paint the holly leaf over it. Coming down the side. Now, I want to paint her hand this light color also. And if possible, I don't want to lose my lines at the edge of the hand. because I'm going to be painting brown lower down beneath the hand, and I don't want to have to retrace those lines. So just like on the other side, we've got this light color feathering out to the edge. And I'm gonna get a smaller brush. Let's see, what kind of brush do I want? I will use, I think, a little round. So I have painted a little bit of the, I slopped over, when I was painting the tree trunk, I slopped over a little bit on where her fur actually is, so I'm painting this light color over that where the tree was impinging on her. And I think there might be just a little bit up here. Okay, now the outside or the edges of the ear are going to be this light color. Now these are the front edges of the ear pointing towards the viewer. And actually I need a little bit of this brown up here. Didn't go quite far enough. And over here, and I painted tree trunk over part of this, so gotta fix that. And our other ear. So you can see that all we're doing here in this layer is indicating, getting the first kind of rough layer down of the different colors to establish the markings. It's kind of fun, or it is fun, to see her getting a little life about her. And I'm pulling my strokes the way the fur would grow, and also pulling pretty lightly because I'll get a fuzzier, featherier edge if I'm not pressing down really hard on the brush. Putting some more over here where that color is going over the tree trunk. Okay, the gray also goes over the bridge of the nose. And then sort of fades out here lower on, whereas further up we're going to go into a little blend our brown into that gray. And then let's take it a little darker up this stripe. One of the reasons I like painting in layers is that it builds the image slowly. I guess maybe I don't have that much confidence to paint quickly and get everything in at once. Just like to, I just like to take it slow, and if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going slowly and building up slowly. Hopefully this mistake can be corrected. So the nostrils, I'm painting this dark blue. Now I'm also going to paint the mask dark blue, and the mask of course will be black, but I often like to paint a blue under the black. I think it makes it richer. So there's a kind of a thought, I guess you'd say, in art that you shouldn't use black. And I was kind of sad about that because I like to use black, but you know, the experts say, well, you should mix your black. Mix black from blue, green, and brown. When I mix black from blue, green, and brown, I get something that looks brown or blue or green. And I actually would like my black to be black. So it was sort of a, you know, internal struggle. Oh my gosh, I want to use black, and they say don't. But then I heard from another like-minded artist who was doing a demonstration for our art group that Degas called black the queen of colors. So I thought, okay, if it's good enough for Degas, certainly it's good enough for me. So there we are. I have chosen to use black, but I am going to undercoat it with something a little different, namely this blue. And I'm not making it really, really dark, as you can see. And if it starts looking a little messy like this is here, don't worry, that's going to be okay. And paint around the holly leaves and the berries. And of course the muzzle's white, so we don't want to paint over that. Alright, let's see, I think I need to go down in this area as well. So, there we go, painting around the holly leaves. And now back over to the other side of the mask. Feathered edges as best I can. Or I'm not, oop, I didn't want it that dark. I'm not fussing over it, but I like to have those edges. Not a straight line. Because it's actually black fur meeting white fur. And of course it wouldn't do that in a straight line. Okay. And let's just, I think I'm gonna bring this under there too. All right. Now, the area of the chest, we started it with the light color on either edge. But now there's a dark, I guess you could say, bib shape under her chin. So I'm going to paint that with the burnt umber on my brush, my flat brush, using a chisel edge, painting around the holly leaves and berries. And I want to feather out into this light area. Now this particular area is largely going to be covered with the boughs, the pine boughs and the holly, but still it's not going to be completely covered maybe, so it's good to have something under it. And that something is going to be burnt umber. Now, mine's pretty messy. I'm not worried about it. Yours might be pretty messy too. I don't know. If it is, please don't worry about it, because we have a long way to go on the, oh no, I don't want to scare you. We have 3 more layers on this raccoon, and this is just the beginning. So things will darken up, even out, come to life as we proceed. We'll come back over this, so do not worry. And then on this side, come on, let's get some paint on this brush. Need to come. Okay, let's go. I bet I've got too much paint on. No, okay. You know, one of the main challenges that I have in painting is getting the right amount of water and the right amount of pigment on the brush. It just seems kind of difficult, and you know, as you're painting, your paint on your palette's getting darker or getting drier, and things just start changing, not always to your advantage. But reminding myself, this is layer 1, it's gonna be okay. Now I need a smaller brush for this area around the berry and the leaf. And there's an area here. Make sure, yes. This area is between the leaves. This leaf and that leaf. And let me look. I think we're good, but I think I will add maybe just a little more in here. Okay, I think this is good for our first layer, and just checking. Yeah, I think we're good. So we'll let that dry. Oh wait, I see. I stopped down here. I mean, it's not critical because I certainly could have caught it on another layer, on the next layer, but since I'm seeing it now, let's fix it now. All right, layer 1, raccoon in the making. So let's dry that, and we'll come back and continue on the second layer.